So, everyone remembers the mud run. A lot of friends love the mud run. She's been in a little bit of a 2 to 3 week hibernation period, and I just pulled it out. Woke all the fucking neighbors up in the process. Because, it's 4 in the morning. I gotta go to bed. This is the frame of my 1969 Cub Cadet 124. Yeah. The one I took the engine out of over a year ago. That's transmission. Don't call me a bad owner because, well, a whole crisis with another car happened and I needed the jack stands it was sitting on, so I pulled it back with jack hoping it'd stay on there, and it just kind of onto this TV box, and I didn't argue because it wasn't sitting straight on the ground. Yeah, the baby JD's shiny. She doesn't have her tires right now because they're on the mud runt, but I waxed it up for a parade. Everybody loved that. I'm glad I put some smiles on people's faces with this thing. And it's almost damn near hard to think that almost a year ago this thing was sitting in someone's backyard and they didn't know what the hell to do with it. Don't BS me. I know you didn't know what to do with it. It was sitting back there. But, the mud run's okay. Yeah, enough in it to start. This, I think, will be our next big project, even though I did a lot of the projecting with the engine. So this one's more now of an electrical nightmare. I mean, I still have to check some vitals on this thing. Compression, spark, and all that fun stuff. But this is a 1969 John Deere 112 hydraulic lift patio. So that white paint on there? This is supposed to be an April yellow patio tractor. If you don't believe me, well, come knock on my door and climb under this dang thing, and all you'll see is white paint. These old owners didn't give a crud to paint to hit the underside. In some spots, you can actually see where this paint rubbed off. Old tire's flat, but it's an ag tire. It'll live. LA 105, peachy. Runs fine, doing fine. And I hear thunder. There was supposed to be a chance of a thunderstorm today, so I'm not friggin' woo. I mean, I heard the wind blowing. Don't think you can hear that humming isn't how quiet it is, but, you tell me what's different in the shop. Other than it being a complete and total mess. That's always the norm. Cub Cadet K301 parts over there. Cub Cadet fender parts and the rest of the engine parts over there. Fixated your eyes on this thing. This doodah. Everyone will love that. It is a Whirlpool Space Saver 10 upright freezer. So yeah, I thought this thing was a fridge when I laid my eyes on it. It said free, it works, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna take it home and figure it out. Freezer, fridge. I'm gonna take it home and find the fuck out when I plug it in. And it turns out this big old thing's a freezer. She goes pretty darn cold too. I mean, it doesn't do it justice that I keep opening the doggone door on it and letting all the cold air out. But, up the top, she's already starting to freeze water. So, if it's really hot tomorrow and I gotta do any work outside, That's my water for the day. Which I do have to go outside at some point because I gotta run bottle returns. I probably get stuff to chuck in here. I mean, what can you put in here? Dead bodies of not of people, but I mean, maybe if you're desperate. I mean, come on, you'd have to chop them up a lot to get them to fit. That doesn't come out. That's fixed. That's part of the whole tubing thing, the freeze. Yeah, it's a part of that. It's like the whole tube where the chemical runs in that supposedly can put a hole in the ozone layer. That keeps all the air in. You know, that kind of air. As we breathe in and freaking turn into carbon dioxide, which the plants love. But, anyway. I looked on the internet, see if I could find anything on this dude. All I could find was a brochure. And, the upright freezer I saw wasn't even this thing's size. It was a bit bigger. It did have this kind of swingy outy door kind of design. Like, it had the, you know, it was an upright freezer, but it had, I don't know what the hell you call this. I really don't. Rack? This little funky rack. That's what this has. Toolbox is good. Totally organized. You didn't see nothing. A few months ago, I treated myself to a Milwaukee drill bit set. Well, not really a drill bit set. You get the idea. Extension and, whatever the heck you call those thingy-majiggies. Best set I ever bought. But before this thing starts melting and making an even bigger puddle on the bottom, I'm going to close the doggone thing. And, yeah. Oh, yeah. Miku's down right now. The humidity's been making the walls wet, so the tape doesn't stick so well. So Miku's been falling down a lot, so I'm just kind of been... I'm not going to waste my duct tape on it, sort of thing. So the point I'm getting at is I'm leaving Miku here for right now. I mean, maybe I could cut her down a little bit where she'd fit on this. And then I just put it on with magnets and then I never have to deal with it again. Yeah, it's actually pretty solid. The actually only soft part was the bottom, like in the bottom. And there was a little hole down there I just patched with duct tape. But I think that was used as a drain hole. So I think I just closed the drain hole up. I mean, to me it looked like a rot hole. But who knows, maybe the old owners drilled it when, you know, they powered it down. But I'm talking about a freaking freezer that you're probably not even going to see used ever. Yeah, you know, I doubt there's any LA 105 fans in the chat. If there even was one. You know, a lot of people do like this one, but they like my customs more. They like the stuff I have cobbled together, like the mud runt, the baby JD. A few people who've seen pictures of the mama JD together and apart. Because I had the engine out on the floor and on my workbench in one night. And then I finished tearing it down the next day. Waited for my parts to come in, which they came in pretty quick. Then I put it back together, put it back on the frame, went home, came back, finished bolting it and plugging everything in, and I was done. Almost lost the E-clip here. I knew that was coming. What about this other side? Typically when the wheel's really close to the E-clip, it rubs against it, and from the motion of it, it'll slowly work itself off. It happens a lot in the winter, even if you have play in it or not. Driving this around in the winter, you do kind of got to be careful with how you make turns, because the way the snow is, and if it like tries to propel itself forward and it doesn't really turn, it can pull. Say you're turning left, and you're trying to go through like some fluff, and it pulls against this one, and if it's really tight, it can work the E-clip out. The one day I actually had a lot of, I put some washers to work on the play back here so the wheels wouldn't friggin' wiggle when I get on ice. I was driving, didn't know I lost my E-clip in my washers. The tire popped right off. And then once I finally put that back together, I tried to drive around, make sure everything was okay. In the same spot, ironically, the front tire popped off. That was a year ago. Anyway, that's enough out of me now. I'm going to go hit the hay, because it's getting near where the sun starts coming up. Maybe I'll do a paint up video with this stuff. Put this transaxle back on its little jack stand setup I had before, so I don't get criticized as a bad owner. Alright, everybody. Have a good night, day, week, month, etc., etc.